Hello boys and girls, welcome to Arsenal TV now. This is my preview for the Arsenal and Leicester game on Friday. Opening game of the season on Friday for us. Arsenal hasn't had the best of starts to a season. Now going back a few years ago, we lost our first game to West Ham. Lost our first game. We lost the game to I think we drew or lost to Aston Villa at home. And we also lost to Liverpool. I'm hoping that Arsenal has a better start to the season. As we know, we've got a few key players that is injured, and we don't know when they're coming back. Such as Gabriel, it looks like he's going to go to Valencia, and also it looks like that Sanchez again has let us down again. He's not going to be playing for the first two games of the opening season, which is against obviously Leicester on Friday and plus Stoke. So it looks like he won't be playing at all. I think it's because of an abdominal strain. For what I read, but anyway, guys, I'm going to give you my starting 11, my predicted starting 11, and here it goes. And also, guys, I hope you did check out the video of my first podcast that I was on last night on the Gooner Talk. I really enjoyed it, and I just want to give a shout out to the Gooner Talk. Thank you very much for having me on the show. And hopefully be many more. So guys, I'm gonna get started now. I'm gonna go into this a bit. What do I expect from Arsenal and obviously Leicester? Well, Leicester on the other hand, I don't know how they're gonna play. I think that Leicester. I know Leicester has brought a sign-in. Now Leicester won the Premier League a couple of years back. And then obviously they sacked Ranieri, which there was a big uproar about that. And then it came down to where Leicester and the fans, and the players had this big. They justified it and said, "Look, we can still do it." But I think Leicester are now going back to their old ways again. So yeah, I don't know really. I know Mahrez is definitely going to be playing on Friday. For Leicester, so I think and obviously Mahrez is obviously linked with Arsenal as well, so he's heavily linked. I think it's for about a £55 million deal, but we just got to see what happens. Arsenal on the other hand, what do I expect from Arsenal? I want the same Arsenal to turn up as we did against Chelsea in the FA Cup, in the Emirates FA Cup, and plus obviously Community Shield. As I said on the Gooner Talk, I do think that El Neni and Granit Xhaka, they have a good partnership in that midfield, and I think the midfield is going to support the back three that we've got. So I do highly rate Xhaka in that midfield role as well, and I reckon Xhaka is going to become a captain. He's definitely captain material. So guys, I'm now going to get into my starting 11. The first person that's going into my starting 11 is going to be Petr Cech. The only reason that he's going to go into my starting 11 because he's our #1 goalkeeper, of course. So yeah, and then my back three is Rob Holding. Is Rob Holding. It's going to be the first game of the season for Holding. I don't know how well he's going to play throughout the season. The only thing we do need from our players this season, we need them to be playing on a consistent basis, because I think that is what Arsenal is lacking as well. We are lacking that consistency. But I don't know how Holding's going to play. Mertesacker is also going to go into the back three. I believe that Mertesacker, after the knock that he took against Gary Cahill in the Community Shield, he should be right. He should be right as rain to go in and play into the starting game of our campaign of the league. And also, I'm going to go with Monreal at the back as well, as we know that Gabriel is injured. We know that Lauren Koscielny has been suspended. So obviously Monreal is going to have to go at the back. Now I'm going to go to my right wing back and my left wing back. In the right wing back position, I am going to go with the Ox, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Please, Arsene Wenger, do not put him in that left wing back position. He's better off on that right wing back position, even though I have other options for Chamberlain. As I said on the podcast, I do believe that Chamberlain should play in the middle. After when we played the game before we played against Bayern Munich, he got put into the middle, and then he was playing brilliantly there. And then what does Arsene Wenger do? He goes and sticks him out on the right. If you could, I mean, we don't need £8 million to see that if someone is playing well in that midfield position like Ox did, you do not take him out. You don't take him out of that position. So Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, I highly rate him. I know he's been linked with Chelsea, and I know he's been linked with Liverpool. But have a guess what, guys? You're not having him. He ain't for sale. But Ox, I thought he played well in the right wing back position when we played against Chelsea. He's very strong. He's very physical. And yeah, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain goes in that position. On my left wing back position, I am going to go with Sead Klesjanek. Klesjanek is an absolute tank. He's a type of player where I think he doesn't care who he's up against. He will push right through them, and he will knock them down to the floor. Especially in the Community Shield when he knocked Pedro straight to the floor. He threw him around like a rag doll. I think Klesjanek Monreal is going to have a tough fight for that left wing back position. I do think that Sead Klesjanek, he's a brilliant player. His attitude to the game, I think he's going to adapt to Arsenal very, very well. Long as his mentality is right, and I think we should be absolutely ready for the league. So yeah, Sead Klesjanek goes in that left wing back position. Now in my defensive mid, I'm going to go with my first person in that defensive mid is going to be El Neni. I know El Neni has took a lot of criticism in the past. He played very, very well in pre-season. And El Neni, I think, even though we only got him for £5 million. But El Neni is a type of player that I think he's going to definitely succeed in that defensive role for Arsenal. And I think him and Xhaka have a good partnership in that midfield. As you saw when we played against Chelsea in Community Shield, Xhaka and El Neni, they dominated that midfield they actually dominated the midfield with them. So yeah, I do highly rate El Neni. Playing alongside El Neni, I am going to go with Granit Xhaka. I don't have no problems with this guy. Xhaka at the start, nearer to the end of the season, he started to show why we signed him, and he's taken that through to the pre-season, obviously to the starting game against Chelsea at the Community Shield. Granit Xhaka, he's picked out really good passes. I think he made 106 passes with 90% pass accuracy in the Chelsea game, and plus he had 1 assist, and obviously that led to Klesjanek's goal. I do think that Granit Xhaka is going to end up being captain very soon. I don't see why not. Playing in the number 10 role, in front of those is going to be Ozil. I do think that, I know Ozil has got some sort of problem at the moment, but I think he's definitely going to play. He's definitely going to play in the opening game of the season for Arsenal. Ozil, we do need to start seeing the player that we actually brought from Real Madrid. I I don't know if Ozil has signed the contract. I'm not 100% sure, so I can't really say about the contract issue. But I do think that Ozil is probably going to have a good season. Now playing up front, just in front of Ozil, I'm going to go with Danny Welbeck. Welbeck has played really well. He's got that strength and that physicality to go up to the goal. But then I do feel that when he goes up to the goal to score, I don't think it looks like he's never kicked a ball to save his life. That's what he needs. He just needs to work on his striking. He needs to work at aiming onto goal. He's got everything from behind, but as soon as he gets to goal, he looks like he can't even score. But I think Danny Welbeck has played well for us, even in the Community Shield game. Danny Welbeck played well heading towards goal. He was just barging through people, and that's why Danny Welbeck goes into. I would have chose Sanchez, but as I said at the start of the video, Alexis Sanchez, he's got an abdominal strain injury. So he's not going to be playing for the first 2 games of the season, which is obviously Leicester and obviously playing against Stoke. I think Sanchez is doing this on purpose to wind us up. But if he's got an abdominal strain, then he can't help that. So yeah, Danny Welbeck will go into that position. The leading man up front is obviously Alexander Lacazette. I believe that this guy is going to bang in some goals for Arsenal. I think he's going to fit well. His movement off the ball, his link-up play is just perfect for us, I think. And I do think Olivier Giroud is going to have a bit of a fight on his hands against Lacazette up front. I do think that Olivier Giroud should be a player that's going to come off from the bench to come on for Lacazette. That's what I think anyway, but I think Lacazette will be our main starting player, and I do think he's going to bang in a hell of a goals because he's been from the French league, so the French league is a bit physical when it comes to the defensive side as well, and obviously going up towards goal. He had a really good chance. It was a bit unlucky in the Chelsea game where Lacazette shot and it hit the post. So I do have really high hopes for Lacazette, and I do highly rate him. So guys, that has been my predicted 1 to 11. As I said, if you haven't already, go and check out the podcast that I was on last night. And also, I'm going to give out my predicted score as well. I'm going to say 2-1 to Arsenal. I do believe that Arsenal. It depends on what Arsenal turns up. Is it going to be the Arsenal that's going to play against Chelsea in the FA Cup, or is it going to be the Arsenal that's going to play in the Community Shield, or is it going to be the Arsenal where we lose on the opening day of the season, like we done against Liverpool last season when we was 4-1 down? Predicted score 2-1. I reckon my goal scorers are going to be Lacazette, Olivier Giroud, and for Leicester's goal, I'm going to go Mahrez. So guys, I hope you really enjoyed this video. I would just like to say thank you to my 37 subscribers, and come on Arsenal, do not let us down. Thanks for watching, guys.